So here I am back again with another story that I had thought of. And somehow, this recording business has just triggered so many of these small but very significant, memories, which I thought that, I should share. And of course, this one is about my most favorite person. That's my dear sister. We spent a lot of our time together in my grand's house. We were there for studies. Ma and Pa thought that we should stay in a place where there's a lot of open space, closer to nature, instead of being cooped in schools which are surrounded by concrete in Mumbai and things like that. So and that too after coming from Kalakshetra and Theosophical Society schools from Chennai, at that time Madras, they were looking up for similar kind of um, education spaces for us. Anyway, we landed up in a convent school, which is another story. Anyhow, so this is about our exam time. But before that, let me just show you this painting behind me. It's done by my father. I'll just tilt this thing. Can you see it? I'll move out. Okay. So my dad, though he was in advertising, he was actually basically he was a painter, and he was a contemporary of Gaitonde, Hussein Ara, and all this. And there are many stories of his, which I'd like to share. Brilliant artist. You can see these. I have 4 paintings of his, and I've seen many of those, while he's making them. A most amazing creative process. That is also some, to watch that is something else. Anyway, so this is about the exam time in Kartik. So what used to happen is, Nandi and I used to get up early to study for our papers. Nandi, of course, is getting up to revise. I was getting up. She used to get up to revise her portion. I was getting up to start studying my portion. So that's the difference between the two. You know, Gigi always used to say, Nandita kahi tras nahi. The word tras. I used to be always up to something, breaking rules, creating havoc for my grandmother. Anyway, so this 4 o'clock alarm used to be set, and then it used to ring, then we used to spring out of bed and go properly organized, wash up everything, go down to study. I used to roll over and he wants to get out of bed, yeah, nice and cozy and in those old style machardani. It was, those where you to tie them up with strings, that machardani type stuff. There was no good night at that time over there, or any of these chemical type of mosquito repellents. Anyway, so then I used to still, as I'm not getting up, I'm going to just lie down 5 minutes more, 5 minutes more. That used to be my trip. But then Nandi would go down and then she would get into the kitchen after opening her books, etc. And all. And she used to make herself a cup of coffee. Now, that was the key part. What she used to do is she used to take that black coffee, the instant coffee, then put some sugar and then put a little bit of milk and she said, whip it up, cut, 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 cut. That cut sound used to be my alarm. Then I used to spring up. Arey, Nandi is making the coffee here, jump out, brush my teeth and everything, and then go down. And then sit on the steps. Because Kartik was on split levels. And it was so designed that you could peer from the steps into the kitchen. So I would sit on the third step and then look. Nandi was beating it up. She wanted a nice thick foam. So just to make sure that she's whipping it up well. And then when the milk was hot, she would pick the vessel with the sanchi, and then she used to pour it from a distance, because she wanted that coffee ka froth to really come up. So double froth. One is the whipping wala one and the other one is the pouring wala. So like that, this well-designed coffee, she used to pick the mugs and go to the table. That was my cue. Then I used to go down. And then reach the table, Nandi's books are open. She's immediately into her books. There's no waste of time. I used to sit there next to her, flip the page open, but then I used to say, "Are you forget it? Let me drink the coffee, nurse the coffee, and drink it." Now, the most magical thing is that I used to have this coffee, and the effect it had on me was that it made me feel doubly sleepy. I mean, forgetting all about the study business and all, I used to just go coolly and crash off on the sofa. And I used to call it Nandi's Expresso. I've never drunk any coffee which is as brilliant. None of these fancy places, so many of them, uh, that there are come up now, nothing beats that exam espresso, Nandita's exam espresso. Yeah. Then, of course, after a little while, I would spring up, because the red line, the thought of the red lines in the book was enough of a trigger for me to be jumping up. Yeah. So these were some kind of memories there. And another thing was that when we used to be studying for these papers, we used to come down, and then that room had a distinct fragrance, and that was of these gardenia flowers, Ananta, as it Gigi called it. One of those or two of those Anantas she used to pluck from the garden and put it near the picture of my grandfather. So there, it used to be a small yellow holder, and in that she used to put it. And because the windows were closed, the whole room had that wonderful fragrance. So for me, early morning 4 a.m. studies was Nandi's espresso, exam espresso, and the beautiful fragrance of Ananta flowers. Okay, so that was my small story for today. I'll close it now.